What is happening, guys? We're back again. I want to chat to you this episode about an upcoming kid that seems to be getting a lot of attention. Now, I don't know if you've heard of him yet, but Asa Vermette. Now, he kind of keeps popping up, and I've seen him a few times now. And he first caught my attention when I don't know if it was a GRT or just an American race or Windrock race where he actually beat Lucas Shaw and Aaron Gwynn. And I was kind of like, who is this kid? And turns out, I think he's still only 15 or 16, but just recently he's gone and done an Enduro for the national champs, and he beat Richie Rude. And now I think he's definitely got a lot of people's attention because Enduro isn't what he's focusing on, and to go out there and beat Richie is it's definitely kind of sets you apart and shows you where you're at. So I thought that was pretty cool seeing him lay it down for that as well. He's riding for Framework, so he's riding for Nico Mullaley's team, and it's pretty cool to see someone so young coming out swinging like that. I think as you see with like Jackson and Jordan, and now someone like Acer coming up, and there seems to just be more and more of these young kids that are coming through the ranks and just throwing down straight away. And I think having the guidance from Nico is definitely going to be a massive benefit in the future coming forward. I've heard rumours that he's already signed to a pro team for 2024. Don't know exactly who or whether that is 100% true, but I've heard whispers and rumours that he's already signed a pro deal. So being American, it seems pretty easy. Well, not pretty easy, but easier for those guys to get support coming over, which is really cool. So I think he's going to be definitely one to watch out for when he does hit the World Cup circuit next year. Also, I want to touch on with the junior category, kind of, because when I first started racing World Cups, we had to race with Elite. My first year, actually, it was kind of funny because the first year I raced Elite, I was a junior but racing Elite. And I remember the pressure to just try and qualify was massive. Like for me, that was such a big task to undertake. It was top 80 back then, but it was still really hard to actually qualify. And then the second year, that was the first year of a junior category on its own. And I'm pretty sure at the first year of racing, there was no qualifying at all, so everyone got in. So it was this weird transition from you had to qualify with Elite to now everyone qualifies. And it was a big shift in, I guess, mindset and prep going into a race weekend. I feel like all the pressure was suddenly taken off. But it'd be really interesting to see what you guys think. But I almost think now, if you're at a pace where you can hang with the top guys like a Jackson, like a Jordan, and just say you win your first year of juniors, I think you should be able to move up if you want. I don't think your age should determine whether you stay in that category, because looking at last year, it's almost like it was not a waste of time, but for Jordan and Jackson, they could have been winning Elite World Cups last year. Now, I know it's hard to say because they rode at different times of the day and blah, 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 but you can see coming out this year winning the first World Cup and the third, that their pace is there, and we saw this last year as well. So I think if the option was there to move forward quicker, why not do it? Like, our careers are very limited in downhill. You might only stretch for 10 years, and if you could get one of those years racing Elite and getting more attention, more money, more publicity, why not let the person do that? Because I've also thought as well, and it is really tricky now that the juniors do race on a completely different day. So the track's different, the weather conditions are different. There's a lot of factors that have changed now, because in the past, I almost thought it would be good to run, just say the top 15 juniors qualify, race them all together with Elite, and then pick their positions out of the Elite field and put them into just say for example last year Jackson and Jordan were getting podiums in Elite or winning Elite, they would actually win the race, and the junior, like, it wouldn't matter, they would be combined. And I think you just add that plus 25 juniors onto the field. So you'd say instead of 60 qualifying, well, still 60 men would qualify plus 20 juniors, so you'd get a total of 80 riders still in it. So you'd always have the 20 juniors qualifying, but wherever they stacked up in the Elite field would determine what they got. Does that make sense? Kind of doesn't make sense in my head. kind of does. Anyway, I'm saying it's harder to do that now that we're running on different days, so that's definitely a factor that's changed now, and it's kind of hard to determine where they're at exactly compared to the elite guys. Obviously, you can see their times, but the track changes, the weather changes, a lot of factors do change. But one thing I'm just thinking is if you have a guy that can hang with the elite guys and it shows that speed, I think they should be able to determine whether they move up or not, instead of just running 2 years in juniors when you've already won the first year and your times are competitive with elite. So it's definitely interesting seeing the up and coming guys. I think Acer is going to be one to watch out to for sure. You see, he just won the junior national championship. I'm not even sure if he is actually racing, because I think he's only 16 and I'm not sure exactly. I think he should be racing junior World Cups next year, but I'm not 100% sure on that, depending on when his birthday is. But he just became national champion. I think he ended up being 6th or 7th in elite for that race, but he's had races where he's crashed and still been 2 seconds off Aaron Gwynn. So I feel like as a benchmark, that's pretty solid time for a young kid up and coming into it. But there was some timing issues at the Enduro that they said for the stage 1, but he actually didn't even win stage 1. Richie did. So if you take that away, he still came back and then won the title. So definitely one to watch out for. I think it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years. I think there's going to be a big influx in young kids, first year juniors that are coming through now. I know the French have a lot of up and coming riders now. They've had a bit of a break. Like Thibaut de Prella was probably the last junior that stepped up and then really made a splash in elite. But these last couple of years, there hasn't really been anyone that stood out. But apparently, talking with Patrice and Dylan and a lot of my French friends, that they reckon that this next year coming and the year after that, there's a lot of really fast French kids that are coming through the ranks. So it's going to be super interesting to see where how they come into play and where they go. I think there seems to almost be like at the World Cups, there's the top juniors like Bodie Kuhn, Ryan Pinkerton, those kind of guys that have separated themselves and are a step ahead. But there's not a huge, like the field doesn't go that deep. Like the top 5 or top 3 are like quite on it, but then after that it drops away quite rapidly. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's a big influx in French race, downhill races, junior races, kids like Acer coming up, and then obviously guys that are already still there that will be in their first year. So I think the junior category is going to be kind of littered with up and coming stars or really fast races in the next couple of years. So it's going to be interesting, but I definitely think you guys should keep your eyes out for Acer. I think he's going to be one that's going to come out. Looks like he's having fun, looks like a happy kid. So I personally don't know him, I haven't met him, but just from what I've seen on the internet and how he kind of carried himself, and knowing that Nico is a role model for him and definitely helping guide him into this next stage of his racing career, I think he's going to be one to watch out for. Let me know what you guys think.